call this meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. Everyone please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, first deal is to approve the agenda. Since there's no changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
So we made a motion. Mark seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. See no guest presentations. Second one would be to approve the consent agenda. There's 4 items. The minutes from last meeting, bills, classified personnel action, hiring of transportation employee. We waive first reading of policy form 3085F. So everyone, I look at the bills over real quick.
That form, it goes along with the timeline policies we did last month, but it just came later.
What's this William Scalmore?
He's like flooring.
Ever been pretty happy with Jim Thorpe? Yeah, they need to come back though, because they messed up on the center logo. So we're waiting for them to come back.
Oh.
The outline of the paw, the white paint wasn't totally dry underneath, and they put the covering over it, so it kind of lifted that white paint and made it full. So they need to come back, sand it down, repaint it, and then recover it. They said they can do it pretty quick, and they're trying to get full gyms done right now, which is why we're taking a while to get back. So I'm waiting to hear back. Sure. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Shelby, second by Steve, to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Patron input. See none, we go on to the informational items, and we'll start with the financial report.
Okay, I don't have the reports because we are working on the audit right now. We did a lot of emailing back and forth today, and I scanned them all the items they wanted. And I'll probably be back tomorrow to scan the more items. So hopefully we'll get this finished up here quickly. We did receive 101-2 basically for the distance blended learning for the coronavirus relief fund, and Dan's going to be explaining on that later.
So we good to go on the audit next month then?
Yes, so far.
Okay, any questions for Kim? Let's go to the technology report. Dan?
I'm gonna save my comments until we get into the action items, so I'll explain all the rest of that from there.
Okay. Sounds good. Principal's report. JS?
Stories Wisconsin.
I don't know if you want to cover.
I don't have anything.
Oh,
They're open for business.
The high school superintendent's report.
Yeah, so the high school, we're at 117. That's an increase of 1 from this time last year. Our September students of the month were Emily Dodge and Hannah White, category of attitude. Our SATs are coming up for our seniors. They're scheduled to take it this month. It hasn't been waived for this year's seniors, which is why we have the fall offering. Normally it's taken in the spring. So we got that coming up along with the PSAT this fall as well. We had a lockdown drill this past week. We usually have 1 or 2 lockdown drills per year, usually one at the beginning of the year, I guess. And then monthly fire drills. I don't know if you heard, but we had somebody drive into the back of the building, back by the staff lounge. It was over a long weekend, and we don't have anything on camera that we can find with it. So if you look back there, you have to look closely because it's on the brick and it's kind of hard to see, but it's indented. And then on the staff lounge part, you can see where the wall's cracked. I don't know what happened.
Hit pretty hard.
They must have, yeah. You know, there's a police report, but we haven't gotten anywhere. No one has said anything. I think it was, I can't remember if it was the first week of school that weekend or if it was the weekend before school started, but you know, we looked forever on camera and we couldn't pick anything up. We don't have really anything in that one particular area. And so it's hard. That's probably when we add a camera in, and I've talked about it, that's going to be the next one. We add a camera on that little corner there by the weight room, because we really don't have anything outside there. Joe and I have talked about how to fix it. You know, he thinks the best option would be to basically do sort of what we have on the front side of the building, that type of wall rather than just brick. It's not a structural issue, he says, and so to repair it would be roughly $2,600, he thought, with labor and material, which labor is all in-house. So it's really not even worth filing an insurance claim because our deductible is $2,000. We probably shouldn't have done an insurance claim for the lights out there either, but I thought that was going to come in a little bit higher. But anyway, so that's where we are on that. Let's see, for the district, we did not get that transportation grant for the school bus, just based on the scoring criteria. It didn't come our way. We didn't get an explanation on the announcement. So we're moving forward with the purchase of the new bus. Do you want to say anything about that, or move on? Like we got everything out.
They asked for PO.
We're just waiting now. Yeah.
Yeah, I sent them the PO already, and they have that.
Delivery by, was it January 1st?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we are there. I have it written there. SBA fall regional meetings are coming up. Region 2 is scheduled for September 30th. They're all held via Zoom. I don't know anything else about that here.
I'm actually not aware, other than that's in Zoom. I don't know if I can register for it.
You guys probably got information about
Yes,
that,
usually, yeah.
but we'll find out if we need to do any registration, and then if anybody wants to attend it, just let us know.
In the past, we haven't had to register for the regional ones. You just go.
Yeah. I didn't know if maybe because it's a Zoom meeting if we had to or not. I don't know.
So what type of information is conveyed in those?
You want to talk about it, Steve?
Well,
you go more than
yeah,
anybody.
what they usually do is upcoming state legislative agenda, you know, the districts will come up with things they want to see changed in the ISBA, policies they want put forward, and then they present those at the convention. At the end of the year, we'll have a state meeting. thing they talked about, and this year would be the virus, of course. And really, it's supposed to be about how it affects us, picking people that represent us in the region too. There's a change in people. I think this year we get a new leader. So it's just,
Sometimes the legislative, the people running are there and they talk a little bit about what they're hearing down, and we see too. And the best part of it maybe is just getting to meet some of the other trustees and stuff, but if it's Zoom.
That's what I'm wondering,
yeah.
how worthwhile is that for Zoom?
Did you guys get the email on it?
I just got the postcard.
Just the postcard?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
We can also, the convention's held online, also for ISBA in November. I've talked to one of you guys, it's off now, if you guys want to let me know.
For the convention?
For the convention. That's all.
For that regional meeting, you had an email for that? You do. Can you forward it out? So we'll forward out the email for the regional meeting, and you can decide if you want to attend them.
Usually it takes a couple hours.
So they talk about the, deals for the convention, maybe at the end of the last day, or they call
A resolution.
resolution.
Registration policy, will change. Bylaws, usually every year they're doing a bylaw change now, so.
State Board of Ed approved a rule revising ADA calculation. Normally our funding is determined by ADA, or average daily attendance. They approved a temporary rule revising it and using enrollment reported to determine each school's ADA numbers for funding purposes. So beginning immediately, schools will be allowed to count students who are learning remotely for ADA funding purposes. That's kind of a topic, because we have kids that are, maybe online, like schools that are half in person, half online. Like, how's that going to work? So enrollment kind of simplifies that. Attendance last year in the spring was a tough one for districts. So, but I still don't. This came up today a little bit at our superintendent's meeting. This still, based on enrollment, will cost about, they estimate, $8 to $10 million more for the state, which, when you're talking about a couple hundred $1 million budget, more than that even. I'm not sure if that's going to raise some eyebrows with legislators or not, so they might decrease it somehow to make it, basically the same amount of dollars spent, or if they'll just let it be. I'm not sure. So we'll see. But this does simplify things a little bit with everything going on.
With students that are not with the IDLA, but with private company, do we include them in our?
No, it would just be, and we don't have any, but it would be kids that were taking basically online school from our teachers. So like we offered, when we had kids that wanted to stay home, or parents that wanted to keep their kids home this fall, just because of the situation, we offered up IDLA as an option. We already get enrollment for IDLA, and so that doesn't really change anything. And then if people didn't want to do those things, they could, go find their own source for school. And we had a couple, maybe 2, 4 kids, maybe, not very many. Some districts, not very many, but some are providing their own online, basically, education, but with their classroom teachers. And so in those cases, this makes it simpler. And you still collect that attendance or that enrollment. Let's see here. The Department of Administration has sent out personal protective equipment that schools have ordered. We've received hand sanitizer, masks, shields, and gloves.
and are awaiting desk shields. These items were free from the state through the CARES Act, so we've gotten quite a bit actually. And we just got some more this week. Yeah. So, that's all I have. Any questions?
How has the first few weeks been?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, it seems fairly normal. And it's been going relatively smoothly, I think. We'll see. Yeah. Other questions?
Okay, thanks, Steve. Next is trustee report. Trustee report. Okay, I guess we'll move on to the action items. First one is the approved purchase of blended learning technology. I don't know if Steve or Dan wants to talk about that one.
Go for it.
So the state, when everybody in March moved to online learning, a lot of districts weren't prepared for it. And so what ended up happening was a lot of money that was normally spent on other things in IT budgets were immediately used to purchase things like devices and all the connectivity and a lot of different things. They rerouted some of the funds from the part of some of the CARES Act money to help because of the 5% takeaway too, and that means they axed my the last portion of my budget. So we backfilled some of that. Well, the state came back and they got some more federal dollars, and they basically said, okay, for the purchases that you made plus getting your districts ready for this whole blended learning model, should we have to close again, what realistically do you need to be able to do this? And so we put together a plan, strategy for the whole thing, and it's a lot of different components to it, but it's basically for us to get to backfill some of the money that's already been spent, and also to enhance some of the stuff that we have going on in the classroom should we need to move to a blended model. So the quotes that you have in front of you there are for, these are the high ticket items. We have other ones that are coming that are a lot, a lot less in the spending, but basically the three quotes we have, one is for Chromebooks, the other one is for classroom audio equipment. So each classroom will have a speaker in it, and it will enable our SPED students who have hearing disabilities or whatnot to connect their devices to those classroom speakers. The big focus behind that was when teachers are wearing shields or masks, it's difficult to understand them, so we give them some audio reinforcement to be able to do that. That's been the particulars. And then the last item that was in there is for a thing called a swivel, and I put that in my budget for this year to get one because LCSC is using it quite extensively for teachers to do self-assessment where they record themselves. The nice thing about it with these ones is that it's a device that uses an iPad. You put it on a stand, you have a remote that you hold with you that's also a microphone, and the iPad follows you around. So if we have to truly go to a blended model where we have some people in classroom or we go completely distance, a teacher can be there and that camera will follow them and record it and do the meetings and the rest of it. So that's where we're at, and that's for the high dollar items. There were iPads put in there as well. The iPad quote I got back, it says quantity 10 on there, but we also have another 20 iPads that we needed to replace due to age, so we have that on my, that's actually on the Apple quote there. So, any questions about this stuff?
I put in here, it's only upon receiving the grant, then after this was granted, we did receive it, so.
And it will cover.
Oh, yeah, the other thing I'm also looking at with this as well is the money that we recovered. I have some other projects that I've, every year I come through and I put it on the budget, and then I get to the point and I'm like, I don't have enough to do that this year. So then I put it off till the next year. And now one of them has been 5 years going on. I'm like, all right, finally, we're just gonna go ahead and do it. The other thing is we don't know what the budget's gonna look like coming next year anyway. So better to sock some of that money away. The Chromebooks are gonna help us because it was a planned purchase and it's a future purchase, because we had this year and next year. Those will get rolled into this one purchase, so we won't have those. So I'll be able to put some more funds away just in case we get another drawdown on budget, so.
So the actual amount was 101,000, and Kim's already got access to it.
It's in our account, well, not in our account, I have to request it as we order it. Yeah.
So what's the next item on your wish list?
We need to switch virtual environments from Hyper-V, which is what we currently run, to VMware. That was my one major one that I've been sitting on forever. I've only had one hypervisor actually puke on me, and it was one of those ones where when it goes, there's not a chance of getting it back. So that's one of those things. I've got a whole laundry list of other things that we needed to get done. So I'm gonna at least have that money. The other one that we're gonna do for teachers is it was requested last year to have, instead of having PD, professional development in-house all the time, where we try to get everybody together and do all that, a lot of the teachers requested to have a PD resource that they could go to online, that they could take classes from that are specific to things in technology. And there's one called Otis for Educators that we're going to purchase with this funding. And it also does college credits on top of it. So if you go in and you spend the time on it, you can get credits for these things. So like we have the interactive panels in the classrooms, you know, the big huge ones already. And the things I constantly get are, well, I need some more PD resources to do that. Well, you're trying to line up with a company to get that. And theirs is, I would love to come in and do some PD. You're like, you already spent $5 grand on the panel. Can you just give us? This one has a complete section devoted to just that they can go and do. So those are some of the other things that we have coming down the pipe. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
I move we purchase the blended learning.
I'll second.
So it's been motion made by Mark, second by Shelley, that we purchase the blended learning technologies. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next one is the adopt policy form 3085F, as well as some investigation and allegation input. Steve, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so this form is, I have it here with the ISBA rep, but I need to look at the form here. It's, yeah, it's the letter that they would use as a notice of investigation or allegation to inform a subject of a sexual harassment complaint, that the complaint has been made, as well as to provide them with required information about the complaint and the investigation and supportive services to ensue. A copy of this notice should also be provided to the complainant. So it just corresponds with the. So let's see. We had a policy, a procedure, and now we have a form that corresponds with it. Is what it is. And it would just help us along the way if that were to come up.
So that's basically just filling a hole. There was nothing, it's not replacing anything, modifying anything. Just
Now the I think that came out later, but the policy that was with it basically came out the day that law was in effect, I believe. I think we did that last month, maybe. We adopted that policy. Yeah, they were scrambling to get that stuff to us.
I'll make a motion to adopt the policy form, 3085F.
second.
Motion was made to adopt policy 3085, and second by Mark. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next one is consider amending employee benefit funding scale. Steve, you talk about this one.
Yeah, that's fine. So this is just something that comes up a lot for us. When we have, and when we have employees that are less than 40 hours, but more than 20 hours, they're eligible for benefits. The issue that we run into is that when people are like right in, especially like in that 25 to 35 hour range, they just have a percentage of their benefits covered of that full benefit package based on their FTE, but it's still pretty spendy, the amount that they have to pay. And so it was just for us to consider changing that scale up to provide a bigger percentage of the benefit package to those employees that are less than 40 and over 20 hours. And it would cost us an estimated $10,000 to $15,000 a year to do that. Probably actually not that much, but I'm going high with it. We have aides that are 7 hours a day, or maybe 6 hours and 45 minutes a day. But to pay for those benefits, it really takes a big chunk out of their paycheck. Anyway, that was it.
And these guys aren't making very much an hour. They're pretty important to our teachers and what's happening. So I'll make a motion to amend the employee benefit funding scale.
Motion's been made by Shelby and seconded by Steve to consider amending the employee benefit funding scale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
I guess it goes without saying, but Kim and I, went through the numbers beforehand and feel like we can afford this. Otherwise, I would have brought it tonight. But
And it helps continue to
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Morale. Next one is approved FFA travel to Burley, Idaho for state soils competition. Talking more about this, Steve.
What's your recommendation? I am on the
if
fence.
it's up to me, I'm sending them, but I get it. Cassia County's open. They're in the yellow category right now. They do have a downward trend happening. This is if they were to advance past regionals, which they did last year. But I get it.
FFA seems a little less, like the groups are smaller and it's not in a big gym. But I'm a little fearful if we say yes to this, then it kind of sets a precedent.
Yeah. This one is outdoors too. That also helps.
It's just what?
This one is also outdoors.
When is this?
October, I believe.
I move we approve the FFA travel for Burley.
I'll second it. So we move to second to approve the FFA travel to Burley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is approve the preschool 21st century program budget.
Real quick, Chad, back to that. I think maybe we should approve it with, as long as that stays in that level. And
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I should have jumped in there before we approved it, but
Did you guys vote?
We
we
did.
did, but we can leave it. If it, all of a sudden they jump into red or the
We'll
risk is
revisit it.
higher.
Doesn't that automatically get revisited though if we change from yellow to orange to red to purple?
It might, maybe on our end, it changes. I don't know. We can leave it as is and just revisit it if we have to.
Yes. I will.
Let's just hope we don't have to.
I'll monitor that beforehand. If they qualify, I'll take a look at it. And then if I feel like it's iffy, maybe we'll revisit it together. We can do a quick meeting online if we want to.
And only if they go to a higher risk or they have a case in one of the schools or something.
Yeah.
The next one is approve the preschool 21st century program budget. Steve, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So this is a new one. Preschool and those grants, like the 21st century grant, they don't have a lot of oversight. And so Jessica and I both felt like it would be nice to have other people have eyes on these things. They had a board for the first couple of years, but I think after the first few years, I don't think that board meets anymore. I think it dissolves. And so we thought it would be nice for you guys to just look at this and it also kind of protects her a little bit because she's just kind of on her own working. And so, putting these budgets together. So we have 2 grants now. We have the preschool, the Idaho Way grant, and then we have the 21st Century grant. So these are the budgets for those 2 grants. And I thought it just might be nice to have a little bit of oversight.
Well, and nice because at some point if we don't have grants, we kind of have an idea of what expenses we would have to be looking at it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the preschool 21st century program budget.
Second.
Motion been made by Shelby, second by Mark, to approve the preschool 21st century program budgets. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I guess that's all, huh? Is there any board member input for future agenda items?
I got something I'd like to bring up. Eric got a grant for $6,000 for a dehydrator for his honey. And he's running out of room in the lab for all the equipment. So my thought was, if we build this concession stand out here, make it large enough to set his bee equipment in, so we can divide it in half. And move the stuff out there so it's not in the lab. And we need room. It's got it in 2 or 3 different places. And then maybe put a pair of sliding doors to separate it, so when they're using it for the football games, that they can knock it off. He's got a load of stuff in there.
So one of my big things right now is, in the past, I didn't have any kids that were deathly allergic to bees, and now we do. And the catch is, when I bring the boxes in that have been with the honey in it, I put them in the lab, and bees do come in. Even though I've gotten pretty good this year about getting them out. We're talking last year it was a football size ball of bees in the window. This year was a softball size ball of bees. And it wasn't a problem. We got it all cleaned up before any kids came, but that would be a concern. And the other thing too is I'm looking into getting the qualifications for commercial kitchen. I can move my bee equipment out there and have it separated, do the thing out there. It would keep the mess localized, etc. And we could have that raised to the commercial kitchen. You could also rent it out to the public, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be nice. In the meantime, is there a space here that's available, or are we at overly?
I can do it with existing space. It just,
No, I think going forward, I just don't know where we are down the road on having.
Well, it only does it once a year.
yeah.
Yeah, no, but for having that built, you know,
Right.
if there's something,
Right.
you know, that in the meantime.
But it takes us as long to clean up the equipment as it does to separate the honey. And if we have it up there, we could wash it out a lot easier, wouldn't make a mess in the labs, and wouldn't be hauling buckets of water out behind the building, dump them on the ground. And if he has his commercial kitchen and gets it approved by the state, then we can sell to the grocery stores and whoever else wants to buy it commercially.
Well, that.
You know, it's for the kids, so.
Yeah, that commercial kitchen would be beneficial to even stuff with concessions.
Yeah.
Great.
And I'm working on the application to do wholesale honey. I'm working on it this week during my downtime, so we'll see how that works. But something maybe to keep in mind, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, you got us all excited for new concessions.
Well, I'd like to see a portable to do that too. I guess I move to be adjourned.
Okay. Motion made to, motion is second to adjourn, all those in favor say aye.